Incorporated. Good morning. This is Zealot Naga. Saturday morning, I just woke up. My hair's all crazy because it's the end of the semester. I only have one school left and 6 papers to write, and that's the end of very, very long master's program. So I'm racing to the end, and I shaved my beard. Kitty said it's too long, so off it went. Anyway, this is a video cast. I haven't done one in about a week, and I needed to update you guys on some of the things that are going through my head right now. So we're growing. We're doing really well. We have a lot of new players, and it looks like it's a really, really good crowd. They're sharp, they're quick learners, and they're excited about the game. And so our activity levels are really high. I don't know if you realize, but we actually, our pilots constitute right now 50% of the Alliance active pilots on average, which is great because we just started, you know. I'm thinking that maybe in, I don't know, month or so, we may dominate the Alliance because we'll have 80-90% of our membership will be our pilots, and we'll have much more military power, and it will be great. It's always good to be strong bone of the Alliance because they depend on you a little bit, and all the troubles that the Alliance goes through will not affect us as much because we'll be the bigger player in it. But anyway, I just wanted to talk to you about some ideas that I've been going through my head. Right now I'm writing a corporation charter, which I'm going to call the Pact. And in it we're talking about our policies, how we're going to run our corporation, different things. But I'm going to just tell you the basic structure of it right now so you have an idea. We're going to have virtues. We're going to have 5 virtues: altruism, honor, discovery, and something else I don't remember. But basically those are characteristics that we want to promote in our corporation, and we want to uphold those virtues. Courage is another one of them, is courage. And those virtues basically drive our policy, because then we have, after the virtues, I'll list them and explain them in the document, we'll have policies and we'll have recommendations. Policies is something that if you break a policy, you get into trouble with corporation leadership, and it will be things like you steal from another pilot, bad, don't do that, or you like curse somebody out and make them angry and make them upset because you were a jerk to them. We'll have a policy against doing those things. So if you violate a policy, there will be disciplinary action, which will be decided by the corporation leadership and by the rest of the member base. So basically there will be some kind of punishment for being a jerk or stealing, or just common sense things like this. But then there will be other things. Will be, I'll call them recommendations. I may change all those names, but they will be called recommendations. Recommendations will be basically things that we disapprove and discourage, but there will not be a disciplinary action for breaking them. Those are things like, for example, we're gonna disapprove. We're going to disapprove running level 4 missions during wars. Why? Because during wars, that's the first place where pirates go, is to level 4 agents, and they camp them. They just wait for you to come out, and they don't wait on their main character, they wait on their scout alt. So you won't even know that they're watching you, and when they see you play, they set up a trap. So when you're returning home to return your mission, your ship blows up. And it happens every war. There's 3 or 4 people that die that way. And I've learned in my long career that it doesn't matter what you tell them; they're gonna die anyway, because people are just stubborn. they take uncalculated risks and they don't think through. And the mission ships for level 4 can be really expensive. They can be a billion or more expensive. So when the person loses them, they get angry, but it also really looks bad on us, and it also extends the war. So when somebody does something silly like that, it's bad for everybody, because then the pirates made money on somebody, and they made a lot of money on them. So they have funding to continue the war, and they have hopes of getting more kills like that, because they're like, oh, those guys are really dumb. We can kill more of them, and we can stuff our pockets with their expensive ship equipment. So we'll have a recommendation against flying level 4s. Now, there won't be a punishment for doing it. We're just saying that you got to be really careful. And when you undock your ship for level 4 missions during war, you take responsibility and you can, I mean, you can do that. You just have to be really, really smart and know how to not get caught. And very few people know how to do that. And so, but if your skill level as a pilot is high enough, sure, do that. If you get caught, just remember, we warned you, so to speak. So that's what recommendations are for. Recommendations is basically a way to measure honor versus dishonor. Breaking a recommendation does not bring you punishment. It just brings you dishonor. It's just something that was just dumb. Why did you do that? People are going to ask. And I'm thinking that it's just better this way. So we're not really hard on the rules. I'm going to have as few rules as possible, as few policies as possible, because it gets complicated. We just start writing policy, there's no end of it. It just becomes a giant ordeal. But let's just do short policy description, and then the rest will be recommendations. Basically, there is no punishment for breaking a recommendation, but it's just dishonorable to do something silly like that. And this will help us because it'll help the rest of the Ubuntu community to basically check itself, because hopefully people will learn from their mistakes and will not repeatedly commit them, and everybody can kind of help each other and explain things, and why do we have this recommendation, and it's because, for these reasons, because ultimately we want to have everybody have fun in the game, and if somebody is being silly, it kind of spoils the fun of everybody else. So but at the same time, we don't want to just tell people what to do. So let's keep that to the minimum and use recommendations. So basically, that's how the corporation is going to be, charter is going to be drafted. We'll have virtues that determine policies that determine recommendations. And each recommendation and policy will have a virtue behind it. We're trying to promote like courage. So if we're trying to promote courage, we're going to discourage people from flying super, super expensive ships. I'm talking like 1 billion and over in PvP. And the reason why is because anybody can win an expensive ship, but in PvP you will always lose. It doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't matter what kind of ship you have. There was somebody out there who's going to kill you. And if people find out that you fly an expensive ship, they'll go out of their way to kill you. They'll set up a trap, and there's 100 ways of doing it, so you'll never see it coming. And when they kill you, your loss from that one loss will be so great that all the other victories you had will just be for nothing, basically, because your combat record will be marred, and people from the outside of the corporation will make fun of you for being this silly guy who just spent all this money for a useless ship. So let's not do that. We're going to recommend against that. And you can choose still to do that, but it's just, we're going to say, hey, that's silly. So the next thing that I've been thinking through these days is alt policy, having alternative characters. It's a difficult decision for me as a corporation leader, and I'm going to be still thinking about it for about 1 more week and discussing it with you guys. But I wanted just to share some of my thoughts. Decided to allow alts in the corporation. That was a really hard decision for me because in my old corporation we did not allow them at all. They had to be in approved alt corporations, and they were highly regulated. Highly regulated. Like, there's all those things you could do on your alt and other things you couldn't. Why? Because there's about 200 ways to abuse an alt, to take advantage of a corporation and basically play on your alt more, or not even more, just have it as a primary source of income, which is bad because basically you're sharing with the fun of the corporation, but you're not sharing with responsibilities. When bad things start happening, people just switch on their alts, and that's not good because it hurts everybody. And then people lose faith in the corporation when they see a lot of people doing that. There's other forms of abuses. There's scams. There's spying, which is not right now is not a big problem, but later it will be a huge problem. And a spy can cause a lot of damage. I've never had a spy steal anything from me or from the corporation assets because I'm always super careful about guarding that. So it has never happened. But and I have never had a spy blow up a capital ship fleet on me because I was also really, really stringent and had people in place checking them and protecting the capital fleets. Because capital fleets, when they deploy, they can't move. So if a spy knows their location, you lose billions of ISK as a corporation. And it will be really bad. So you have to always be on guard against them. But in my past experience, there was one time when a carrier got blown up because of a spy. It was not through my corporation, but it was through another corporation in my alliance. And so I'm partly responsible because I didn't catch a spy in a different corporation. So with alternative characters, it's always a problem because there's so many of them. If everybody starts making them, it's hard to keep track. It's hard to control, and it's very easy to abuse. But after talking to some of my friends and talking to Givor last night, I think we're going to allow alts, and I don't think we're going to officially regulate them. Because you just kind of can't. People do what they want to do anyway, and if they set their mind on it, they'll do it, and you won't catch them for a long time. You will eventually catch them. There's ways to track those alts, very effective ways, and eventually every alt will be discovered. But they can do it for a long time, trying to avoid your attention, and so you kind of hurt the fun of all the people who want to legitimately use their alts by trying to catch those guys who abuse you. So we're going to go the other way. We're going to just let people abuse us, but we will have a mechanism to track them, and also we'll have a mechanism to catch those abuses and to punish them. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to force everyone to declare their alts. So you can play with alts. You can have alts, research alts, mining alts, things like that. But you have to declare them, and you have to declare what type of alt it is. What are you doing with that alt? You have to tell us what's the purpose of it. You have to tell us what kind of income it generates. And everybody else in the corporation will be able to see everybody else's alts. It's first of all because that we need to know that you're honest with us. Because if you're lying, it will be really easy to track you and to catch you. And also it's because there's so many different ways to abuse an alt. It's almost impossible to predict all of them. And if I write, because I was thinking, if I write all the abuses out, it will be like a 20-page document. And I just don't want to do that. Let's let's do it more flexible system where everybody can see everybody else's alts. And then basically, if somebody it looks like there's something fishy is going on, we can subpoena more information. Ask them, look, this is not looking right. This is something really odd going on this character. So please explain this to us. And ultimately, if there is something fishy, we'll allow people the ability to basically file a lawsuit against another person or against the whole corporation, or the corporation can file a lawsuit against another person to say, look, and we'll do this on the forums, and we'll say, look, this looks like you're taking advantage of us. And we can kind of talk it out, but the good thing about that, it's a flexible system to do it this way. But basically, there won't be regulations. There will be recommendations against alts. We'll just recommend, we can, please do this, please don't do this. But for breaking recommendations, there will be no disciplinary action. But there could be a lawsuit. Basically, what happens if enough of the people in the corporation dislike what you're doing, it's a sign that probably what you're doing is hurting the corporation, and you're taking advantage of the corporation, or you're spying on the corporation because you have another character that you really play on, and you put an alt into Ubuntu. That's just a no-no. We want your main character. We want you to be committed. We want you to be a productive part of the community. And so we'll discourage alt abuses on a flexible system where the entire Ubuntu community will be able to evaluate what you're doing and see if it's right or wrong. And it'll be a move of the community, not just of the leadership, not of just some policy. So that's the idea I currently have right now. And please discuss it on the forums. I'm going to post the forum link. Give me your feedback. And fly safe. We'll keep going. So I'm glad to have you guys. This will be exciting times. Okay. Bye-bye.